Testing, testing, testing. Okay. Hey, thanks so much for joining our live broadcast today. My name is Greg Lewis. I'm the marketing director for Metastock. Some of you ask, why do you start your presentation before you start the actual presentation? In this case, which is 9 minutes and 30 seconds from now. The answer to that is simple. We like to give people an opportunity on YouTube Live to just kind of mosey on in and get comfortable and sit down, just the way they like, and get themselves some coffee or a drink or wherever you are in the world, and this gives you a chance to do that. It also gives me a chance to tell a little bit about Metastock and to talk about some upcoming things, but you should know that this typically gets chopped off the final version after we go live. So if you do come on and you're seeing me talk right now, all you have to do is fast forward, and you can see pretty clearly right where the presentation starts with our little timer, or what do you call it? A little, you know what I mean? A little clock that times down in a circle, and then it has a leader video, and then anyway. So speaking of videos, if you haven't heard of Metastock, I'm going to show you a video right now that tells you all about it. Hi there, Greg Lewis, Metastock Software. As the marketing director, I get asked all the time, what is Metastock? How can I help my trades? Well, stick around for about 3 minutes and I'll tell you. Metastock is an award-winning software and data package that has been helping traders for over 35 years. Simply put, Metastock is a tool for traders like you to analyze the markets. Metastock helps you take the guesswork out of trading by offering a methodical, systematic approach to some key questions all traders come up against. Questions like, how do I decide which securities to trade when there are literally thousands to choose from? Which strategy should I use, and how do I test that strategy before spending my first trading dollar? When should I enter and exit a trade? How can I effectively manage the securities I'm interested in? And of course, how do I know where prices will go next? At the core of Metastock are the Power Tools. The Power Tools give professional-grade analysis tools to private traders like you and me. You can scan the market with the Metastock Explorer to filter and sort securities that show buy and sell signals based on your criteria. The Metastock System Tester lets you test most strategies through a process called backtesting, which allows you to see how your strategy would have performed over time. You can easily manage and monitor the securities you are interested in with Quote Center. Quote Center lets you sort on a variety of criteria to view the data that's important to you. Then just double-click on a security if you want to see its chart. With the Metastock Forecaster, you can even take advantage of patented technology to view probable future prices. If you're an options trader, you're going to love Metastock's OptionScope. OptionScope puts all the critical info at your fingertips, displaying sortable, customizable, color-coded options data, including the Greeks. And Metastock has solutions for traders of all levels and interests. If you're just getting into trading, you will appreciate the education offered by our many built-in systems. In addition to pointing out buy and sell signals, Metastock explains how they work in an easy-to-follow commentary window. Metastock has built-in systems based on popular strategies like MACD, Bollinger Bands, turtle trading, candlesticks, and many more. Metastock even has the very popular and exclusive Rahul Mohindar oscillator system, or simply known as the RMO. And as you become a more experienced trader, Metastock grows with you. Advanced analysts will enjoy the comprehensive list of trading systems and indicators, and the ability to build their own systems. And if you're a day trader, you can't do better than Zenith, the real-time news, data, and analysis package offered by Refinitiv, a world leader in market data. Add on the world-class support, and it's not hard to see why Metastock has won the Stocks and Commodities Reader's Choice Award for 26 consecutive years. To find out more about Metastock and how it can help your trading, visit metastock.com or contact a product professional via phone, email, or chat. Okay, thank you for watching that. Hope you learned a little bit more about Metastock. I have to say I'm sort of missing my my quarantine here. It's longer, but I cut it off, so now it's all just regular old man here. On the agenda of things to talk about, we have got coming up our Traders Conference. It is the largest event we have ever done. It's going to last 3 days, and it will have 26 speakers and 26 presentations, and it will be absolutely freaking free. And there will be door prizes. I kid you not. We'll be giving away random things periodically throughout the presentations, and in order to qualify for that, all you need to do is register at metastock.com/traders-conference, metastock.com/traders-conference. Hope my mic's on. Yes. I can't remember what I was supposed to say. Oh, did I mention it's absolutely free? Completely and absolutely free. 26 speakers, 26 presentations, absolutely free, and it's online, and it's from April 5th to April 7th. April 5th, 6th, and 7th, you can see it, and it'll be great. We're going to be starting here in about 3 minutes. I should probably also mention that today's recap presenter is Sagar Nandi. He will be coming at you from, I believe, Thailand today. And Hunter will be the host, and he'll be coming at you from around the corner. His house is really just around the corner from Metastock here. And I'm coming at you from here at Metastock. What else have we got come up? I can't think of anything else we've got coming up. But do please participate. Ask us lots of questions. Today we're only broadcasting on YouTube. Often we simulcast on YouTube as well as GoToWebinar, but today is just on YouTube. So if you want to ask Sagar or Hunter a question, ask away. They will absolutely respond. And if we don't get to your questions, we apologize. But by the way, I see there's quite a few people already here. And I would appreciate a hello, shout out. I see Creative Bobo said coffee sounds good when I was referring to coffee earlier. Thank you, Creative Bobo. And okay. So anyway, we're going to start in about 2 minutes. I want someone to, before I stop talking, I want to see one shout out. I want to see one person say hello. Hello. No? Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and put us on mute here for a second so I can make sure that everything is good on the other side over there. Again, please do ask questions and participate greatly. Interact with us. Hunter says hello. Phew, finally somebody said hello. All right, so we'll be right back. Okay, let's start right on time. Thank you everyone for joining us today for our weekly market recap. live weekly market recap, I should mention. Today's guest is Sagar Nandi. We're being hosted by Hunter Smith, and I would like to welcome you here and also encourage you to take this opportunity to like and subscribe this channel. We do this several times a week, and if you like the channel, I should say subscribe to it and hit that little bell, you'll be notified and you won't miss one. Anyway, with no further ado, I'm going to give you the show.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hunter Smith with Metastock, and today we are doing the International Market Roundup. I'm happy to be here. I hope everyone in the audience is doing wonderful. Today is March 26th, depending on where you are. We have a very good guest for you today. Going to go into some analysis and kind of look at the market. Before we get too far into it, though, I have to cover the legal stuff. This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and accompanying software plugins. Not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of our software, any trading strategies, or information in connection with the company. Moving on to the fun stuff. I see we had a question in YouTube chat already. Is this something new? Creative Bobo? No, we've actually been doing this for quite some time. We bring a special guest on every single Friday, and today it is Mr. Sagar Nandi. Sagar, we've actually been working with Sagar for quite a number of years now. He's a great trader. He's even a better educator. He teaches people to trade and has a really solid methodology. Today we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of that. Sagar, can you hear me okay?
Hi, Hunter. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. It is let's see, it's about 4:30 Eastern time, 2:30 my time. You're in Thailand. What time is it there? It's very early morning, isn't it?
It's early morning. It's 3:30 a.m.
That's very early. And as always, every time you do this, we appreciate it so much. I don't know how you do it at 3:30 in the morning. I can barely do math after a couple of cups of coffee. So, you know, we're lucky to have you here this early. We have a couple of charts on the screen. I'm going to end up turning the time over to you, Sagar, and let's chat about a few charts. I have a few up here right now, but I'm sure you have a few queued as well. Overall, you know, we had a little bit of a regression the last couple of days, but it looks like a bullish return. Let me go ahead and make you the presenter here. How do you feel about today's bump up, Sagar? You might be muted.
Yes, just give me 1 minute, please. I'm trying to figure out how to share the correct monitor and which one is my correct monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Screen 2. Can you tell me which screen can you see now, Hunter?
So I'm looking at, let's see, your disclaimer, Skype, and then Zenith behind it. So it's
that one? Okay.
Yeah, it's the editor mode of it. So
give me 1 minute, please.
No, you're fine.
I have to figure out, every time I have this challenge, how to...
If you go to sharing.
Sharing, yes.
And
Show
then
screen.
click on, yeah, there's a little drop down on screen. And,
okay.
Yeah, here we go.
Now.
Brown background.
background.
Looks like a blank screen.
What about now?
We changed to blue.
That's cute. Okay. Screen on monitor 1. I'm trying to show the disclaimer full page PowerPoint slide.
Oh,
Okay, pause, play.
yeah, it's just like it looks like possibly you selected the clean.
Okay.
There we go. There it is.
Okay, I'm sorry about it. Actually, few of the monitors are off. Somehow it was picking up those. I didn't expect that. Sorry about that.
We will forgive you this one and only time, Sagar.
Thank you. I'll remember it instead. Okay, so the disclaimer slide is there. Metastock already covered it. From my side also, this is an important slide to show, and that was the only slide. About the market is looking bullish. There was a pullback for a few days, and it was important to note that some stocks dropped a lot more than other stocks. However, the mega caps, it felt like it dropped, but might not have dropped so much. We'll look at the USA market, but as I like to do, let's have a look at the global markets also. Nowadays, all the markets are intertwined. I'm using Q Global running on Metastock, and I'm using the weekly chart on the left and daily chart on the right. That is my standard setup. I call it at a glance. Now the weekly has certain colored candles and daily has some colored candles and few lines. The indicators that I'm using, they are not required to have any parameter or threshold. They are color coded. Green, cyan is bullish. Magenta, red is bearish. Yellow is neutral. I will not try to explain all the color coding and indicators. If somebody is interested, they may visit the website sagarnandi.com, and there is learning material under this graduates hat icon. They may go through it. I will not try to explain every indicator. However, just by looking at the color, you will have an idea what is going on. And I will use the name of the indicators that should also help understanding what they indicate. Now, this is Australian market. I carry out 2 webinars regularly on my own YouTube channel. And in the last webinar on Wednesday, I showed based on this trend line resistance in the daily and trend line support in the daily that it was moving inside a range. And that movement is continuing, just moving inside the range. For those like me who like to take directional trades, Australian market is not the right market right now. It's moving sideways in both weekly, daily. If we look at a longer term period, it is in an uptrend and then consolidating sideways. Will it go up or will it go down? We don't know, but whatever happens, we'll come to know in real time. Now let's look at Japanese market topics index.
Also, if I may interject very, very quickly, if anyone on YouTube has questions, feel free just to throw them straight into the chat. This is a wonderful system. We'll give your there is a lot of education behind the system. Obviously, in the period that we have, we're just trying to do kind of a rough overview of the market. Like Sagar said, we're not going to be able to get into the minutia of it, but it's a pretty self-explanatory system. If you have questions, if you have symbols that you'd like to look at, throw them into the chat. And back to you, Sagar.
Sure, thank you. Yes, please feel free to ask questions. And I love to use Metastock. As you can see, one of the reasons is that I can look at global markets. There are many traders who like to trade invest in the USA market. That is a large market, but that is not the only market. And Metastock allows me to look at global markets. I am looking at topics index now. In the weekly, it came to this automatically drawn trend line. And just when it came to the trend line in the weekly chart in my webinar, I mentioned that it was more likely that price would go up. This week, price has recovered. This is in a much clearer uptrend than the Australian market. In the daily, it has a trend line support, no trend line resistance. It's going up with higher lows and higher highs. In Japanese market, we are allowed to take directional trades, and that will be in the long direction. Let's look at the Chinese market CSI 300 index. Again, there was a sharp drop of CSI 300 in the weekly chart right after displaying this possible reversal signal. It's called headwind signal, possible reversal. After that, price dropped. However, when price came to the trend line support, others might be panicking, but in the YouTube live session, I mentioned it was more likely that price will at least stabilize. It stabilized for a while. After that, it tried to go down, but this week, once again, it stabilized and stopped right at the trend line support. In the weekly, during the downturn, a resistance trend line was automatically drawn. It also came to the watermark pivot level. Today, it displayed a bullish release signal. The candle color also turned bullish. Therefore, even though other people may be concerned about the Chinese market, for Q trading style, my trading style, the fact that it is stopping at the weekly trend line, that it is displaying a bullish shape candle with long lower tail in weekly, it has a bullish indecision dot in the weekly chart. In the daily, it stopped at watermark pivot, displayed a bull release signal, green dot, broke above trendline resistance, plus the daily candle color turned bullish from red, bearish. All those are indications of a possible bullish move. So right now, in the Chinese market, we would like to take swing long trades. Over longer term, of course, it is in an uptrend. It dropped, and now I think is the right time to look for new long trades in the Chinese market. Let's look at UK market FTSE index. Just like the Australian market, this has no direction. It is moving sideways. In this case, it has watermark support, trendline support, and watermark resistance. Because it is moving sideways, we are not going to take directional trades unless it can break out of the range. And let's look at one last global market, India's Nifty 50. This used to be the strongest of the global markets. And in the weekly chart, that strength is continuing. However, here also, after displaying the possible reversal headwind signal, price could not go up above the watermark resistance. Now in the daily chart, it has trendline resistance and also trendline support. Therefore, it is inside a triangle pattern near the peak of the triangle pattern. That is not a time to take directional trades. Again, we'll like to wait for a breakout in either direction. Over longer term, it is bullish. So we went through several global markets, Australia, Japan, China, UK, and India. In the longer term weekly chart, all of them are bullish. If we look at immediate last couple of weeks, then Australian market and UK market are moving sideways. In fact, India market also, you may say, is moving sideways in the recent period. Japanese market is the most bullish. And Chinese market pulled back. However, it is right at support, and the next likely move seems to be to the upside. With that in our mind, the background in mind, let's look at E-mini S&P 500 futures. We are moving on to the USA market. And as you can see, I am spending considerable time trying to understand the market. Because if we are wrong on the market, as IBD traders often tell, if the M for market is wrong, then everything in trading is wrong. And if you are right on market M, then your chance of making profit is much higher. That's why I spend time on market, look at it from different angles. First, I looked at it from global markets. Now I'm looking at USA market. For the USA market, you could look at futures or indices or the ETFs. Sometimes I look at all of them. In this webinar, let's look at some of these instruments. This is E-mini S&P 500 futures. Can you see a pattern? Just like in the Chinese market, it came to the weekly trend line support and stopped right there. Just like in the Chinese market, I mentioned that that would be the time to not take shorts, but take longs probably. And on my Twitter page, I tend to share tweets, live tweets, and this is a tweet I shared March 25th, yesterday in the morning session. Not today. Today the market recovered, but yesterday in the morning session I tweeted with not morning session. It's actually night time. So it's pre-market. It's today's pre-market. Sometimes I mix up the time zones. Today's pre-market, I shared two snapshots. One was for the E-mini S&P 500, the weekly chart, and I showed it was right at the trend line support. In the magnified picture also you can see it was right at the trend line support, and I mentioned ES is holding the weekly memory support, recovering a bit from there. This is pre-market today. And I also shared a snapshot of Russell 2000 daily chart, and I showed that it in fact recovered from the daily trend line support. Just like in the Chinese market, when instruments come to the support trend line, these trend lines drawn automatically called memory trend lines, the likelihood of price stopping there or going up is higher than price immediately breaking down, especially when the swing started some time ago, because it has already sold out significantly. The likelihood of bouncing at least somewhat from the trend line support is much more. This is what I shared pre-market. And see how these two instruments closed today. S&P 500 E-mini futures, it went up further. This is today's candle. Now it is bullish. It is very close to making another new all-time high. And looking at the weekly color, you know already cyan, green are bullish. Daily also cyan, green are bullish. The fact that it came to a swing low, hit the yellow direction line and went up, the daily flow turned bullish. It is more likely that it will continue to go up from here. Not guaranteed, but more likely, and most likely it is going to make a new all-time high next week. Now, is that supported by the other futures? I tweeted about the Russell 2000 futures daily support. Let's look at that. Here we can see now the daily bounced up from the trend line support. that happened yesterday in the pre-market session. I showed that, and it continued to go up from there. It has also regained the yellow direction line. It came not only to the trend line support, but also the watermark support, the dotted pivot line, and precisely bounced up from those levels. In the weekly also, it came to this trend line support, made a false downside breakout, and sharply moved higher. This is not as strong as ES because the weekly color is bearish, though the weekly shape is mixed. The solid body is bearish, the long lower tail is bullish, the shape is mixed. Looking at the fact that daily and weekly both reversed from trendline support, I will say it's more likely that price will go up from here.
I also really like the fact, just to add on to that, I really like the fact that the daily candle, the complete body of it is above the body of yesterday's candle, completing that that swing.
That is very true. That is very true. In fact, okay, why don't we mix that Metastock platform with Zenith platform, Metastock Zenith. There are a lot of things in Zenith, just like there are many things in Metastock. I will not try to cover every way that I use Zenith, but here you can see the watch list, and I am looking at the market ETFs. Hunter pointed out something about Russell 2000, and that is the IWM ETF. And you can see this is the strongest ETF today, isn't it? It went up by 1.82%. And not only that, it was the strongest yesterday also. From the heat map color coding, you can instantly see that yesterday it went up by 2.18% and again went up today by 1.8%. Why is it useful? At the end of yesterday, when you saw that IWM was the strongest, and you saw that it was right at trendline support in weekly, daily, you could either take long positions in some fundamentally strong stocks, probably small cap stocks, right at yesterday's close, or you could take them at today's open. And as Russell 2000 went up, those trades would make profit. You could use this technique. What is this technique? Look for trendline support in weekly and or daily, and if price bounces up from there, look for a long trade. You could use this technique for both intraday trading as well as swing trading. Of course, you could use that for longer term investment also. For example, I see a longer term trendline support in Russell 2000 here. If price drops all the way to this support, then we could take a longer term position trading or longer term investments in fundamentally strong stocks at the longer term supports. You could use these trendline supports for intraday trading, swing trading, position trading, longer term investment. Now, when I'm saying that you could buy some small cap stocks probably, or fundamentally strong stocks probably, when it came to support, could you do that? Yes, you could do that. And I will come to a tweet where I shared a buying idea yesterday. Probably not many other people were going to look at those stocks in the way that I analyze them using Q systems, but I will come back to that. Let's continue with the futures. Let's look at YM first, Dow Jones E-mini futures. Okay, let's go to NQ. Sometimes because of bandwidth, the symbols may not be loading. I'm in Thailand. I have fast internet, but not super fast. Let's try again. YM.
presenting on GoTo helps a lot when you're broadcasting, and you're running Metastock and you're running, a few other things simultaneously. It's sometimes it can really bog down the old bandwidth.
Okay, give me a minute. Try again from here.
Hunter?
Try the ETF. No? Okay. This one trick I learned, if something doesn't work, close the program. Another trick is, if that also doesn't work, shut down the computer. That I am not going to try now in the middle of the webinar.
Hey, Hunter.
That's a little bit different than the way I deal with it. I try to restart the program. And then if that doesn't work, I take a hammer and I use what's called the Chevy method.
Yes,
And I just hit it till it works.
Keep that handy. I should keep that handy.
Hunter, can you hear me? Hello?
One hammer.
Yeah, you sound far away, Greg.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I sound so far away. While you guys are working that out, do you know the stock symbol for, was it Shoei Kisen Kaisha? Do you know what Shoei Kisen Kaisha is?
I'm sorry, could you say that slower?
Shoei Kisen Kaisha is a Japanese company. The reason I bring it up, it's the one whose big old ship is stuck in the Suez Canal right now. And I thought, I thought we'd check that stock, but I can't find the symbol, and I don't really have a lot of computers available here to look for it. So anyway, it looks like he's back now, so I'll let you guys get back at it. Oh, or is he? You back up, Sagar?
Unfortunately, no. It for some reason. Okay, why don't I try another stock instead of looking at the ETFs? Maybe the ETFs are not helping me.
Try WYY. That was something thrown in from one of our viewers.
While you guys are doing that, I'm going to look for the stock symbol for
Really surprising. Usually it doesn't happen like that. Maybe my internet is having some issue. Let me try one more time. Sorry about that, everyone.
Hunter, maybe you could pull up your Metastock. But you don't use what he does.
I recently reinstalled, but I don't know if I have Q installed here, unfortunately.
Well, I'm just trying to
fill in time by talking at you.
No, okay. Let me do this. The charts are not opening, no issue. What I looked at so far is that the futures are looking more likely to go up next week. Now, using the trend line supports, we could anticipate that move. And here is a tweet I shared yesterday on a stock KOP. And I attached all the Q snapshots. Let's look at that. And you will see how, again, I'm using the trend line supports in individual stocks, just as I'm using them on the market ETFs or indices. This is a chemical manufacturing stock. It came to trend line support in weekly and daily. It reversed yesterday, though the color was still red. It was creating a double bottom at the watermark support. Looking at that, I wanted to buy the stock, but before that, I looked at its industry. And this is also calculated based on Metastock Zenith. The commodity chemicals industry, the industry of the stock, the score was slightly down. The alternative industry, sometimes these companies work in multiple areas, so it could be grouped as commodity chemicals. Okay, in this case, alternate industry is also commodity chemical. The score reduced little bit, but if you see the percentage move, it was steadily turning up. Percentage move over 5 days, 2 day, 1 day, and real time. All the Q systems based on Metastock are in real time. Over 5 days, the industry was down, and in real time, we saw it was going up. So the industry allowed us to buy. Though relative to other industries, it might not be the strongest yesterday, the industry in itself was strengthening. And I looked at the longer term strength relative score. It was strong earlier, weakened little bit, and again it was starting to go up. Here you can see the 12-month score to 1-month score, and then more frequently for 10-day, 5-day, 2-day, 1-day, and then real time. What attracted me more is the fundamental score, again based on Metastock Zenith Q system. It was undervalued stock, and not only that, it had excellent earnings growth in the last 3 quarters as well as last 3 years. It had a short squeeze potential. The company is profitable, earnings per share is positive. In real time, the stock was up at that time 2.2%. What time was it? It was around 2:25 p.m. And you can see 78% of peer stocks, these 37 peer stocks in commodity chemicals, were up. So the stock itself was fundamentally strong. The industry peers were up. That allowed me to buy. And I bought that stock yesterday, and let me see if it allows me to open KOP. Yes, I think some internet problem at my side, my end. Yesterday, it closed higher. When I shared it, price was still below trendline support, but by the close, it regained the trendline support. And today you can see it went up further. Now, when I shared KOP, I shared another stock also. That was Huntsman. HUN. I shared it in my Skype group. Let's look at Huntsman. HUN. It was also creating a triple bottom. Price was starting to go up yesterday. When I shared it, it was still below yellow direction line, but at the close, it regained the yellow direction line. I had a long position in Huntsman also. HUN is the ticker symbol, and it closed higher. Now, why did I choose Huntsman again? Let's look at its fundamentals. I am using a tool called Q Vital, where you can type the root symbol here, and it will retrieve data from Zenith. First, some basic information about the stock, then the list of peer stocks. I'm choosing the relationship as industry peers. You could choose sector or country also. Now it will retrieve data about the peer stocks, calculate the scorecard. And see again, for this stock also, I chose a stock that was undervalued with earnings growth. Earnings growth in the latest quarter. Usually I like to swing trade. For that, the latest quarter data is more important. It was positive, significant earnings growth in the latest quarter. Not only that, it was a turnaround candidate. From negative earnings growth in the previous quarter, it turned positive. And you can see today, this is today real-time data. Today, 100% of 26 peers are up. But I could buy it yesterday, and while others may be turning bullish today, these two trades, these are the only two trades I shared on Twitter or Skype group, they are up. Now, how is Huntsman's industry? I'm switching from QVital to QH using the smart icons. Huntsman Industry Diversified Chemicals. You can again see it is not the strongest, relatively speaking, because the relative score is slightly coming down. However, if you see in itself, the industry is up by a significant percent, 3% today. And if you want to see the longer term transition, it's called industry rotation. It was weak between 2-month to 6-month period. And you can see in the latest periods, today, 1 day, and today in real time, the score improved. So it is a turnaround candidate in terms of industry rotation. It is also a turnaround candidate in terms of earnings growth. And it is also a turnaround candidate in terms of creating triple bottom and going up. I usually like to check the instruments using weekly, daily, and see again the same pattern that I mentioned earlier. It was not only creating a triple bottom in daily, fundamentally strong stock, it came right at the trend line support, multiple of them, and vigorously reversed from there. These are relatively easy trades, I tend to say, because the stop is very narrow and the reward risk ratio is high. These are the two stocks I could anticipate, and they are, as you can see, they are not mega cap stocks. When Hunter mentioned IWM was going up, I thought I will review these two stocks, how looking at the small cap going up, you could take long positions in fundamentally strong stocks in industries that were also strong and make profit in a few days.
Yeah, that's a fundamentally strong stock. It's a technically strong stock as well, because when you have those two periodicities next to each other, weekly and daily, you can see that the overall trend of the stock is very, very strong. It's very, very bullish, but also it's behaving a specific way in that our pivots, our low pivots are higher. So when we go through these troughs, each trough is a little bit higher than the last one as well. So that signal that you're on right now makes it even stronger, because each of our troughs have been a little bit higher than the previous one.
That is right. And that is happening because in the weekly, it is gradually going up. There are long lower tails, one here, but the low of the long tails are higher. That is creating this slightly higher trough in the daily chart, successive higher troughs. And these trend lines work extremely well. Now, I was trying to look at YM. Let me see if now my internet will allow that. Yes, okay. This is YM, S&P, no, not S&P, Dow E-mini futures, and you can see this is also very strong. Weekly is bullish in color and shape, daily is bullish in color and shape. The last all-time high is not far away. Looking at that, I think it's more likely price will continue to go up from here. Again, when in weekly chart price came to this trend line support point, you may review the YouTube channel videos on trading profitably. You would see that right on that day, I mentioned that I was not going to short DIA because of the trend line support, and that was useful. It went up. Now, market is looking bullish, whether you look at global markets or the USA futures. Let's now look at the sectors. I'm looking at the market from different angles. For the sector industry rotation, I'm using this tool based on Zenith called QH. Here, I am looking at the sector advanced decline, industry advanced decline, and stock advanced decline. All these tools work in real time. Today, 91% of sectors are up, 95% of industries are up, 90% of stocks are up. So today is very bullish, no doubt about it. In real time, we can see 10 sectors are up, 1 is down. Which one is down? The red bars are real-time performance calculation. Only communication services is down. Everything else is up. Which one is up the most? Infotech, 3.5%. Materials also 3.5%. Did you notice the two stocks I shared yesterday, KOP and HUN? Both were in material sector. That was not accidental. Based on sector industry rotation analysis, I chose the sector and industry that was more likely to go up. Then I selected fundamentally strong stocks, Finally, I also looked at stocks that were at support on technical charts. That was not accidental, that was by design. And that technique also works well. That is the holistic approach. Buy only in strong industries. Okay, let me take a step back. First, look at the market. If market is bullish, look for long trades. Then buy in strong industries, stocks that are fundamentally strong and that are at a low risk buy point. Materials went up today. Energy also went up by 3.4%. Now, how is this sector rotation or industry rotation or strength weakness they are playing out over longer term? This is a very useful graph that I refer to every day. This is showing the 1 month to real time sector advanced decline, industry advanced decline, stock advanced decline. Those who use Q systems cannot live without these few graphs. This at a glance shows how the sectors, industries, stocks are strengthening or weakening. Now, 1 month was bullish for long time. Only I think 1 or 2 days ago it turned bearish, and the 1 month period has turned bullish again. Today in real time, of course, we saw it already. 91% sectors, 95% industries, 90% stocks are up. Yesterday also was bullish. Yesterday, in fact, 100% of sectors, 94% industries, 86% stocks were up. That was also the reason I selected 2 buying candidates yesterday. And 2 days period is also bullish. Therefore, there is some weakness over 5-day and 10-day period. If we go back further, it is bullish and recent periods are bullish. This market, the logical trade direction is long side. Now let's look at technical breadth. We look at sector breadth, industry breadth, stock breadth using advanced decline. Let's look at technical breadth. And I look at technical breadth by seeing how the different Q symbols are playing out using this Q finder tool over weekly period. First weekly period, then I look at today's daily period. If we look at all the signals, it is now 64% bullish, and these are now technical breadth calculations. 64% bullish. If we look at strength signals, 32% bullish. Trend continuation, 66% bullish. Trend reversal, 67% bullish. And there are further breakdown of the strength signals, continuation signals, reversal signals. But let's focus on the summary information. All signals at the close of today, weekly period, is bullish. The strengths are more bearish. That is because we can see from the breakdown a relatively larger number of gap downs that resulted in these strength signals being more bearish. And then we see reversals are more bullish. So what happened? This week market, some stocks opened lower but reversed. Opened lower due to the gap down and then reverse turned bullish. That is even more bullish, a false reversal kind of move. That is also corroborating the idea that market will likely go up next week. Now, if we wanted to see today's technical breadth, just like the sector, industry, stock breadth, they are not always in sync, but today they are in sync. All signals, technical breadth, 92% bullish. Strength also 97% bullish. Continuation 91%, reversal 77%. Everything is bullish. Unlike the weekly period where there were gap downs and price went up, what happened today? There were a large number of gap ups and the reversals are also bullish. Large number of gap up open. All are color coded. Just by looking at the green, I know it is gap up. And then large number of reversals as well. So today is bullish. Weekly is bullish, technical breadth. Daily is bullish, technical breadth. We saw sector, industry, stock, advanced decline breadth is bullish. And of course, the market futures are bullish, global markets are bullish. Everything is bullish. Last one angle that I look at is to see the market internals. And here again, I'm using Q systems and Metastock Fire. There are several layouts. To save time, I look at two of them. One is to look at mega caps. And I have not been able to process this today. But let's see, as of yesterday, it's a custom index of the top 20 mega cap stocks. And it has all these mega cap tech stocks like Amazon, Apple, Google, of course, Facebook, etc. As you can see, it is bound by trendline resistance and trendline support. It has no direction. In the weekly also, for many weeks, it's not moving. And if you step further back, after the bearish headwind, price didn't go above the watermark resistance much. It went up a little bit and came down, what we may call false upside breakout. But for practical purposes, it is moving sideways. Why that is important? Because that is going to help us decide whether we are going to trade mega caps or not. The answer will be no based on this chart, because mega caps are moving sideways. Unless they break out of the triangle pattern, the direction is not clear. So we are not going to take directional trades in mega caps. On the other hand, we saw, and we may relook at that again, we saw that IWM, small cap, was strong yesterday, the strongest, and strongest today also. So it makes sense to take trades in smaller cap stocks now. Now, after looking at mega caps and deciding not to trade them, let's look at the market internals. Let me look at just the weekly period. Here I am looking at the new high-low, advanced decline, and up-down volume. These are called market internals. It's like using a stethoscope to check what is happening inside the body, or medical scans under the hood. They tend to show more clearly whether the market is strong or weak than just looking at the futures, because futures represent maybe Dow Jones only 30 stocks, but this is broader. And here I am looking at 4 major indices: Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P 1500, and S&P 500. You can see there was some divergence in this period. That advanced decline was coming down, the peaks were coming down, troughs were becoming deeper. Up-down volume, peaks were coming down, troughs were becoming deeper. That was visible in all the major indices. That was visible in the indices before price pulled back. And now it has gone up again. So the divergence has played out over last few days. Now there is no bearish divergence in terms of this market internals. New high-low, advanced decline, up-down volume. That is also telling, because the bearish divergence has played out, it's more likely price will go up. And lastly, I use one total view, market breadth. That's again an extremely useful view for all Q traders. It is combining insights from 2 composites, the exchanges, Nasdaq and NYSE, and 4 major indices, S&P 1500, 500, Nasdaq, and Dow Jones. Here we are looking at few things. One is the market strength weakness in terms of how the stocks in aggregate are moving relative to the major moving averages. So the top calculation is percentage of stocks based on all these 6 indices, percentage of stocks where 50 MA above 200 MA. In a bullish market, it will keep on going up and stay above the average line. That was true for a long time, but we can see it has rolled over now. That is showing that market is not as strong as earlier. However, this MA calculation, percentage of stocks 50 MA above 200 MA, is the slowest of the 3 MA calculations. So when it has come down, that is not the time to short. When it was rolling over, that would be the time to short. And more accurate timing would be based on the second MA calculation, percentage of stocks above 50 MA. Again, this is an aggregate calculation from the 6 indices. You can see first it rolled over below the average line at this point. Once again, it created a lower high, rolled over for the third time, second time, third time, and fourth time. If you were watching this, you would know that right at these times, the advanced decline and up-down volume, they were showing bearish divergences. Those were the times to take short trades in individual stocks. Now, as of yesterday's close, I could not run it today, but today certainly it will go up further. The percentage of stocks above 200 MA also rolled over 2 times. Those were the times to look for short trades, and yesterday it went up slightly. Today it must have gone up further. Out of these 3 MA calculations, for timing, the above 50 MA is the fastest, then above 200 MA, and lastly 50 MA above 200 MA. It had shown a bearish divergence just when the advanced decline up-down volume in the other chart I showed also showed bearish divergence. That has played out now. Another important piece of information is from this accumulation distribution counts. It's the total market view weekly and total market view daily. I'm plotting S&P 500 ETF here, but the candle chart is not important. The important thing is the accumulation counts and distribution counts. Again, based on these 6 indices. I have seen, based on past studies, that a significant drop in the market has never happened without a distribution count of 2 or more. Now, in recent periods, I can see there was only one distribution count of 1. Before that, accumulation count. That is why when the distribution count came, but it was only 1, I mentioned that I am not overly bearish. Because for the market to drop significantly, at least based on past experience, it has never dropped significantly without a distribution count of 2 or more. What is a distribution count? That is a count of distribution days in the 6 indices. Accumulation count is in green color, cyan color, distribution count in red, magenta color. Now, if I scroll back a little bit, you will see what I mean. See here, between February and March last year, the market started to drop. There were series of distribution counts of 6. What are these? These are distribution days in all the 6 indices. What is distribution? When majority of the stocks in those indices are dropping, and they are dropping with high volume. And did you notice, just prior to the 6 distribution counts, there was a distribution count of 2. That was an alert. And after that, series of 6 distribution counts came, market dropped sharply. Now, if there are distribution counts so high at the bottom of a move, then it may point to exhaustion and price may continue to go up. So when the accumulation count of 6 came right after a distribution count of 6, you could start to buy from this day. This is something what other people may call a follow-through day. This was a rally day where an accumulation count was 6 after severe drop and large distribution counts. First large accumulation count was a rally day, and the second large accumulation count was a follow-through day. And if you started buying from that time, those trades would have been very profitable. Now at the right edge, if I scroll back to today, rather yesterday's close, there is no distribution count of 2 or more. That is why I was not, and still today am not, overly bearish. Those are the things I look at, and there is not enough bearishness in the market from any angle. Instead, it is looking bullish. pull back for a few days, but going up again. In this market, you may look for only long trades, fundamentally strong stocks, technical low risk buy setup in strong industries, just like I shared, KOP and Huntsman, but there are surely many other stocks.
Let's do this if we can, Sagar. Let's take a look at WYY. It's a symbol from that was requested from YouTube.
Sure.
I don't remember the name of it though. Waypoint, something like that. Wide point. It's
Yes.
close.
And while doing that, let me also see its fundamentals. It's retrieving data for fundamentals. Let's look at a chart. Now, I don't know whether the gentleman or the lady is looking for a bullish trade or bearish trade, but without knowing that, let's look at the chart. The charts are color coded. The weekly is magenta, that is bearish. The weekly shape is bearish. Solid body is bearish. There are tails at the end, but the tails are relatively smaller. Body is much bigger. Solid body, that's bearish. Shape is bearish, color is bearish in the weekly backdrop. Also, there is a dot here. This dot is showing it is a reversal week. What does it mean? Price went above previous week's high, but closed below previous week's low. That's a reversal candle that shows up as a dot here. So the weekly is bearish. Now the question is, it is exhausted enough to look for a buy trade. Not yet, because daily is still red, it is still dropping. We see the stretch band indicator, it is telling it is oversold, but we don't want to catch a falling knife. What will be a good buy point? Again, the trend lines come to our help. If price can come to this trend line and goes up from there, you could use either intraday real-time chart or end of day chart to see if price bounced from this level. Even better if it penetrates below the trend line. By the way, at that same level, there is a watermark support, which had a bullish headwind possible reversal signal. That headwind reversal signal led to a price move up, enough for a profitable swing trade. And as Q traders know, if a bullish headwind leads to a price up move, when price comes to the same level, the watermark support created by the headwind, most likely some buying is still left because price went up too fast. So some buyers are still willing to buy at the same price. Therefore, we have multiple reasons to look for a buy setup at this point. One is it had a bullish headwind at that point. Now it has a watermark pivot support. It has a trend line support. I will wait for price to come to the support and go up and then take a long position.
Yeah, and you can see that support come in December, that long, we're looking at about a month or so where that stock, the price movement was just sideways the entire time after that giant move. And it seems that price has actually come back down to that level. So, I mean, if I'm looking at this, I'm needing some sort of action, around that watermark line, that trend line, that you have there on the chart, some sort of bounce, because it looks like it's going through that old support line that it had in December.
Right, and these simple techniques work quite well. Trend line supports work quite well if they are drawn properly. You can see when it will bounce from the trend line support in daily, it will probably reverse from the watermark resistance in weekly. The prior resistance may now act as a support if price could regain this. Now, before buying, I would like to, at least in my approach, I'd like to look at the fundamentals. White point. It's in IT consulting and other services industry. Today, 78% of the 63 peer stocks are up. That's nice. However, its valuation is not undervalued, medium valuation, not overvalued also. There is no earnings growth data for the last 3 quarters. So it's not maybe a relatively new company. It makes money, but there is no earnings growth for the last 3 quarters or last 2 years also. So fundamentally, this is not as strong. For example, like the stocks I shared earlier, KOP and HUN. Now, what about the industry? Let's look at the industry. We know 78% of peer stocks went up, but how is the industry relative to others? That is also important. Now, industry relative to others, you may say it gained score little bit, but not very strong. What is a strong industry today? How will we find out? Let's look at all the industries. And sort by real-time relative score. These are the strongest industries today. There is no ambiguity. Instantly from the color coding heat map, you know that. Therefore, if I am going to buy, why not buy in especially these industries? Why I am highlighting them, I'll explain. See these industries. They were weak earlier. The magenta color is showing they were all weak earlier. I highlighted those because the heat map helps me to do that. They were weak earlier and they strengthened today. Some of them are having the best scores today and some of them are having heavy acceleration today. So these pace columns show acceleration. These columns show relative score. I am going to look for buying stocks in either very strong industries, and incidentally, these are also turnaround candidates, or industries that are accelerating. Their relative score may not be highest, like this one is 122, not as high as 144, for example, semiconductor, but it is accelerating. Acceleration score is very high, so I could look at that. So there are other industries that are stronger. In terms of fundamentals, there are other stocks that are fundamentally stronger. And in terms of chart, as of today's close, certainly there are other stocks that are stronger.
Yeah, I agree there. This, WidePoint's going to fall under the category of, waiting for a move, but at the same time, there are a lot of strong candidates out there, especially with the last couple of days of what the market's been doing. There's much better options out there, no pun intended.
Why don't we look at some of them? Do you want to look at some of them?
We have a couple of minutes to do so.
Okay, let's do that. What we could do is do a top-down analysis. Let's start that. Couple of minutes to do so. Okay. Let's go to the industries directly.
Yeah, I'd like to pick one industry, and then one sector,
Okay.
one stock from there.
Okay. So let's look at let's look at steel, because it was strong earlier, dipped little bit, and now it is the second strongest, or we could look at aluminum, steel, both. I'm highlighting both of them and drilling down into the stocks. These are the stocks, and if you see today's move, large number of stocks in these two industries went up by very high percentage. Let me try to find stocks that are either undervalued or having heavy earnings growth. So all of these are those stocks. Now I'm going to look up their technical signals in Q Finder. I'm not even opening the charts. I'm looking at technical signals from Finder. Remember Finder, from where we saw the weekly and daily technical breadth? I'm able to look at technical signals, and I can see there are, in fact, all of these are gap up moves. Two of them are giving pullback buy setup, possible trend following buy setup also, no breakout. Why don't I look at these two, US Steel and Suncoke Energy? US Steel went up by 11.6% today, Suncoke Energy 9.4%. Let's look at them. X, that is US Steel. this is looking much better. Instantly, you know that. The weekly bullish shape, bullish color, daily was going up, pulled back. Just today went up again with a bullish flow that is giving a trend following with flow setup and also a pullback setup because it pulled back to yellow direction line, white direction line is already below that and now went up. So this is giving two trade setups and we could see that from Finder, you will still pull back and go with flow. And let's look at SXC. And these two stocks are in strong industry, strong fundamental. Again, this is giving a pullback setup. It was in an uptrend, pullback to yellow direction line, white direction line is already below that, went up again. Daily has a bullish flow. Weekly doesn't have a bullish color, but shape is bullish. It regained the watermark resistance that may act as support. So both are giving valid buying opportunities. Fundamentally strong industry, nice technical setup. That's how you can easily find opportunities. You may not have to take trades where weekly red, daily red, industry weak, fundamental not so strong, because there are plenty of stocks where everything is bullish.
Yeah, exactly. That's a quick run through, of the top-down approach. I mean, it couldn't show that any better. We found the two stocks that have buy opportunities in very, very strong markets at this point.
Strong industry, strong fundamentals. That's true.
Thank you. Couldn't think of the word industry. It's Friday. It's not 4:30 in the morning, mind you, like some people on here, but it's the afternoon.
but those with babies, they have a different situation in life.
That is true. My sleep schedule is
I can understand.
It's everywhere. So, on that note, Sagar, wonderful having you on. Tell the fine people in the audience how to get a hold of you if they want more information about the tools that you've shown today, or they want to start looking at maybe taking some education from you.
They may use my email ID, and of course this is my website, YouTube channel and Twitter handle. You may contact me using my email ID.
tradingprofitably@gmail.com or go to sagarnandi.com. There's a ton of education, and something I say every time that I present with Sagars. The amount of free education that he provides is ridiculous. The amount of tools that he creates himself. Again, it's I see something new every single time we have him on here. So, Sagar, my friend, it's always a true pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your point of view and your trading strategies with us this morning.
The pleasure is entirely mine. Have a great weekend, everybody, and Hunter and Metastock. Thanks for this event. See you again.
Of course. Everyone out there in YouTube land, thank you so much for attending. If you haven't yet, you should subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell for the notifications. Go ding, and then you'll know every single time that we're sharing wonderful information on our YouTube channel. It's about as shameless of a plug as I can give at this point. I'm sure that Greg will be very, very happy with me. All of you out there, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and as always, happy trading. See ya.